Hello 7th grade, this is Mrs. Lopez. We are in the last concluding two lessons of Module 2 in grade 7. So we are just reviewing multiplication and division of rational numbers. This lesson might take a little bit longer because there are many problems. I will go over the first row of the first exercise and then I'm going to go down one at a time. And so hopefully that will help you to do the rest of them. So let's go ahead and get started. Um, just to review the rules of multiplication and division of rational numbers. When we multiply numbers with the same sign, just like positive 4 and positive 5, our answer is going to be positive. So our answer here is positive 20. When we same goes for two negative numbers. When we multiply numbers with the same sign, both of these are negative, our answer is positive 20. It's like taking away four groups of negative number. Remember that? Okay. And when we multiply numbers with different signs, this one's negative and positive, this one's positive and negative, our answer is going to be negative. So negative 20 here and negative 20 here. So far, so good. I'm hoping that you'll remember now how to work with sign numbers when working with multiplication and division. Remember, division is the same rules as in multiplication. So same signs, positive answer, different signs, negative answer. Okay, now let's look at fractions. How do you multiply fractions? That is very easy. We just multiply across 3 times 7 and 4 times 8. So 21, 30 halves. If you have something that needs to be simplified, for example, if you had that 8 right here, you could have simplified 4 and 8. But this is if you remember how to simplify fractions. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. 8 and 2 tenths times 4. This is not 82, this is 8 and 2 tenths. What we need to do is we need to put 8 and 2 tenths and multiply it by 4, just like you would normally multiply numbers. And remember to count the number of decimal places after in the end. So 2 times 4 is 8, 8 times 4 is 32. I don't need to line up the decimals here, but I do need to count how many decimal places I have. And that is only one place. 4 has a decimal, but there is nothing after it, and only one place after the decimal. So I'm going to put my decimal one place over to the left. So I will get 32 and 8 tenths. Okay, this is division, basic division. 20 divided by 5 is 4. We are dividing same sign, so we have a positive answer. 1/2 divided by 4/5. Now, remember how we do complex fraction. We don't do division this way, so I will just reset it and rewrite it this way. 1/2 divided by 4/5. And this way you see that you want to get rid of that number in the denominator. You want to get rid of 4/5. And that's why you want to multiply that by the reciprocal of 4/5. So we are multiplying 4/5 by reciprocal of it, 5/4. And what I do in the denominator, to keep it that way, I want to go and multiply the same thing by the numerator. So 5/4 goes on top as well. Now we have 5 and 5 that can be simplified. I have 4 and 4 in the denominator that can be simplified. So it all goes away. I have 1 in the denominator, and remember, when you have 1 in the denominator, it doesn't really count. So I can only work with these two, and this is a multiplication problem, so I'm just multiplying across. 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 4 is 8. My answer is positive because I've divided same signs. Okay, 7 and 2 tenths divided by 6. 7 and 2 tenths go in the dividend, 6 goes in the divisor. Since I'm dividing by a whole number, I don't need to move the decimal anywhere horizontally. I'm just moving it up. And this is where you need to line up the decimals. 6 goes into 7 only once, so 1 goes on top of 7. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract, your remainder is 1. Bring down the 2. 6 goes into 12 twice. 2 goes on top of that 2. 2 times 6 is 12. I subtract. 0 is a remainder. We are done. The answer is positive because I'm dividing two numbers with the same sign. Okay. What rules do you follow when multiplying and dividing rational numbers? Again, same sign, positive answer, different sign, negative answer. And again, it applies how to multiplication. It also applies to the division. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Next one, multiplying rational numbers. And again, I will just go in order down, moving down. Okay, so negative 5 6 times negative 1/3, multiplying across. I'm multiplying same signs here, so my answer is going to be positive. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 3 is 18. I don't need to simplify anything because there is nothing to be simplified. My answer is final here. Next one, 5 sevenths times negative 3 eighths. Since I'm multiplying different signs, my answer is going to be negative. Put it right there. There is nothing to simplify, so I'm going to just multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15, and 7 times 8 is 56. Done. Next one, negative 11 twelfths times 4 fifths. I'm multiplying different signs, so my answer is going to be negative. And 11 times 4 is 44, and 12 times 5 is 60. You could have simplified. I just saw it, I'm sorry. 4 and 12 can be simplified, but you can divide them both by 4. Okay, and you will have 1 here and 3 here. Okay, so you will have 11 times 1 is 11, and 3 times 5 is 15. Negative 11 fifteenths. You can also divide this number by 4. There's nothing wrong with that. 44 divided by 4 is 11, and 60 divided by 4 is 15. Okay, so if you forgot that first step, like I just did, no problem, do it at the end. Okay, last one on this page, negative 6 times negative 9 tenths. You're multiplying a whole number by a fraction. You are multiplying same sign, so your answer is going to be positive. What you want to do is to put that 1 in the denominator and make it a fraction, negative 6 over 1. And then you can simplify 6 and 10 by dividing both numbers by 2. So I'll divide by 2, and here divide by 2. Here you will have 3, here you will have 5. Now I'm ready for multiplication. 3 times 9 is 27, and 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so now since this is an improper fraction, you want to make it a mixed number. 27 divided by 5 is 5, and then you will have 2 as a remainder, 2 fifths. 5 and 2 fifths. Okay? Alright, so moving on. Next one. This is also a multiplication problem. And again, it's a multiplication of a fraction and a whole number. So we will change a whole number into an improper fraction. We can simplify as well 12 and 9 by dividing both numbers by 3. So 9 will turn into 3, 12 will turn into 4. My answer is going to be negative because I'm multiplying different signs. 7 times 4 is 28, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now I need to simplify, turn it into a mixed number. 28 divided by 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27, so there's 1 in the remainder, so 1/3. Negative 9 and 1/3. All right. I just looked at this one, and let me do it for you as well. Since both numbers are mixed numbers, you haven't seen that one yet. My answer is going to be negative because I'm multiplying different signs. What I want to do is I want to change my mixed numbers into improper fractions, both of them. And I will do it by multiplying denominator by the whole number and adding the numerator. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. So you will have negative 11 halves multiplied by 7 times 2 is 14 plus 1 is 15. 15 sevenths. And that's what you are going to multiply. So you're going to multiply across again. So 11 times 15, 165, negative 165, and 2 times 7 is 14. This is an improper fraction. We need to make sure to change it into a mixed number. So we are dividing 165 by 14, and we will get 11. And 11 times 14 is 154. So we have 11 in the remainder, 11 fourteenths. And of course, it's going to be a negative answer. So negative 11 and 11 fourteenths. Notice I'm not multiplying 5 times 2. That is not going to be correct. Okay, you need to change it into an improper fraction before you do the multiplication. All right, next one down is 14 and 6 tenths times negative 9 tenths. My answer is going to be negative right away because I'm multiplying numbers with different signs. Now what I want to do is to put 14 and 6 tenths and multiply it by 9 tenths. I don't even have to write the 0 because when I multiply by 0, all my answers are going to be 0 in there. I can write it, it's not gonna make any difference. So 6 times 9 is 54. We'll do it just like regular multiplication. 4 times 9 is 36 plus 5 is 41. And 1 times 9 is 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay. Remember I told you not to line up the decimals? That's where it's very important. If you were to line up the decimals, you would have a decimal right here. But that's not going to be the case because we need to count how many decimal places we have after the decimal. And the total is 2. 1, 2. I'm moving my decimal to the left 2 times. That's where it is. 13 and 14 hundredths, which is going to be negative 13 and 14 hundredths. Next one. Same rules, you're going to have a negative answer. And now you're multiplying 9 and 3 tenths by negative 6 and 7 tenths. 3 times 7 is 21. 9 times 7 is 63 plus 2 is 65. Now we are leaving this space or giving it a 0 if you want a placeholder. 3 times 6 is 18, so 8 and 1. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 1 is 55. 55. Okay, so we're adding them together. 1 plus 0 is 1. 5 plus 8 is 13. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 1 that we carried over is 12. And 1 plus 5 is 6. Count the number of decimal places that we have. 1, 2. I'm moving the decimal place in the end, 2 spaces to the left. 1, 2. The answer is negative 62 and 31 hundredths. Practicing the same rule for multiplying decimals, multiplying negative and positive, so different signs. My answer is going to be negative. And now I'm just arranging my numbers to multiply. 8 and 5 tenths. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Giving a placeholder. 8 times 4 times 8 is 32. And 3 to remember. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Adding the numbers together. 0, 4, 10, 2. I have two numbers after the decimal in my factors, so I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the left. I don't have to worry about that 0 at the end, so I will have a negative 20 and 4 tenths. Okay, next problem. Now we are getting into division. So again, division of fractions, I would recommend, so you remember how to do it, to set it up as a complex division problem. So negative 3/4, I'm dividing by 6/7. I don't want to get rid of the negative 3/4, I want to get rid of 6/7 that is on the bottom. So I'm multiplying 6/7 by its reciprocal to make it 1. So I'm multiplying 6/7 by 7/6 and simplifying everything, right? And the same thing I'm going to do to the numerator. 3/4 times 7/6 as well. Okay, and now I'm only working with this. My answer is going to be negative because I'm multiplying different signs. I can simplify 3 and 6 by dividing both numbers by 3. 6 will become 2, 3 will become 1. 1 times 7 is 7, 4 times 2 is 8. My answer is negative 7, 8. Next one, negative 5 divided by 1/4. If that is, if this seems to be complicated to you, please don't be alarmed. Just change the 5 into a fraction, put a 1 under it. So you will have negative 5 over 1 divided by 1/4. Now you can set it up. Negative 5 ones divided by 1/4. You want to get rid of 1/4 in the denominator, so you are going to multiply it by its reciprocal, 4 ones. Multiplied by 4 ones. Now you can simplify 4 and 4 in the denominator, and that will be a 1. You don't need it, so you only work with the numerator. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Next one. 1 and 1/3 divide by negative 6/11. Make sure to change your mixed number into an improper fraction right away. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 4/3 divided by negative 6/11. You want to get rid of the denominator, so we're going to multiply it by negative 11/6. See how we are keeping the sign? That is very important that you do. Multiplied by negative 11/6. And there is you can simplify 4 and 6, dividing both numbers by 2. 4 will become 2, 6 will become 3. You will get negative because you are multiplying different signs. Negative 2 times 11 is 22, 3 times 3 is 9. Now you need to change it into a mixed number back. So we are dividing 22 by 9. You will have a 2. 2 times 9 is 18, so you have 4 in the remainder, 4 nines. The answer is negative 2 and 4 nines. 1 and 3/7 divided by negative 6. Exactly same rules. Make sure you're working with an improper fraction. So you will have 7 times 1 is 7 plus 3 is 10. 10/7. You are dividing by negative 6 over 1. To be able to get rid of that negative 6 ones in the denominator, you are going to multiply that by its reciprocal, negative 1/6. The same thing you will do to the numerator, multiplied by -1/6. Okay, so 6 and 6 get cancelled in the denominator. Negative times a negative will give you a +1, so you don't have to worry about that. Now you can simplify 10 and 6 by dividing both numbers by 2. 6 will become a 3, 10 will become a 5. You are multiplying different signs, so your answer is going to be negative. 5 times 1 is 5, 7 times 3 is 21. -5/21. Okay, last page. Division of mixed numbers. Again, same exact thing. You are going to just make sure that that's an improper fraction. Your answer is going to be positive because you are multiplying you're going to multiply initially same signs. So 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25/3. Negative, right? Dividing by -2 and 6/7. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 plus 6 is 20. So -27. We want to make sure to change -27 and multiply it by its reciprocal. -7/20. Whatever I do to the denominator, I also do to the numerator. So multiplying -25/3 by -7/20. In the denominator, all my numbers get simplified and I get only 1, and that's my goal. In the numerator, you can simplify 25 and 20 by dividing both numbers by 5. 25 will turn into 5 and 20 will turn into 4. That will be easier to multiply other than 25 by 7. But since you're multiplying same signs, your answer is positive, as I said. And so you will have 5 times 7 is 35, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now you need to change it back into a mixed number. 35 divided by 12 is 2. 2 times 12 is 24, so you will have 11 as a remainder. 11/12. All right, next one. -2 and 34/100ths, you're dividing by 9. This is a division of decimals. The rules for sign numbers still apply. You are dividing two different signs, so your answer is going to be negative. Replace 2 and 34/100ths in the dividend and 9 in the divisor. Now we're dividing by a whole number, so all I need to do is to move my decimal up. Make sure you do that, otherwise you will get a wrong answer. 9 does not go into 2, so I will put 0 on top of the 2. And now I'm dividing 23 by 9. 9 goes into 23 twice. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract 23 and 18, you will get 6. And bring down the 4. 64, sorry, that's a 5. Yeah, even teachers make mistakes. 54 divided by 9 is 6. Okay, so your answer, I'll just finish that. Your answer is -26/100ths. Now, if it wasn't finished, you would continue to divide, and you would get a repeated decimal, which is all right. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay, so now same thing, 10 and 68/100ths, we are dividing by -1 and 2/10. So 10 and 68/100ths go in the dividend, -1 and 2/10ths go in the divisor. I'm not going to put a negative sign right here, not to confuse myself, but I will put it in the answer. So remember that since I'm dividing different signs, my answer is going to be negative. Now, I'm dividing a decimal by a decimal. I cannot divide by a decimal, so I'm going to multiply both numbers by a 10 to be able to move my decimal to the right. So multiplying 1 and 2 tenths by 10, and multiplying 10 and 68 hundredths by 10. This way my decimal moves to the right, and after that I will bring it up. So my decimal switched places. Otherwise, it would be here, and the answer is not going to be right. Okay, so now we are dividing 106 and 8 tenths by 12. So 100. So 12 does not go into 1. 12 does not go into 10. 12 goes into 106 8 times, and 8 times 12 is 96. We subtract it, we will get 10. Okay, and we will bring down that 8. 12 goes into 108 9 times, and you will get 108 without the remainder. So negative 8 and 9 tenths is my answer. Okay, last problem here. Negative 354 and 4 tenths divided by negative 8. My answer is going to be positive because I'm dividing both numbers with the same sign. So 358 and 4 tenths goes in the dividend. 8 goes in the divisor. 8, my first step is to bring the decimal up. Since I'm dividing by a whole number, I don't need to multiply anything. 8 is now going to 3, moving on to 35. 8 goes into 35 4 times, so I will put 4 on top of the 5, not on top of the 3, not on top of the 8. Because I'm dividing 35, 4 goes on top of that 35, on top of the 5. 4 times 8 is 32. I subtract, and I get 3. I'll bring down the 8. 8 goes into 38, also 4 times. So put that 4 on top of the 8, and 32 again. Subtracts, now you will get 6. So it's not repeating, right? It continues to be dividing. And then I will bring down the 4. 8 goes into 64 8 times. My answer is positive. So 64, 0, positive 44 and 8 tenths. All right. So this is all that I can help you with on these lessons 15 and 16. The rest of it is yours. I hope it makes more sense than it did before if you didn't understand it. If you have any questions, please message me. Otherwise, I will talk to you in the next lesson.